Hi, my name is Lisa Torres, and this is my DRTA project. DRTA, or Direct Reading Thinking Activity, is a comprehension strategy that helps students by guiding them into asking questions about the text, making predictions, and then reading to confirm or alter their predictions. The DRTA process encourages students to be active and thoughtful as they read, enhancing their comprehension. For my project, I decided to use A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. The lesson I used in the video is designed for 4th grade students. Hi, my name is Lisa Torres, and today I'm going to be using the DRTA activity in order to help reading comprehension. My volunteers today are
Ruby, Heather.
Okay, girls, today I'm going to read to you a story called A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. I want you to take a look at the cover and tell me what you see. Is there anything on the cover that stands out to you?
A girl that is sick.
Okay, what else?
That she has stripes.
She has stripes. That's good. From your observations, can you predict what's going to happen?
That the girl's gonna get sick.
Okay, that's an awesome prediction. Okay, so now I want you to turn to your partner and share your predictions. I want you to explain to your partner what made you predict your predictions. Okay, so that's what you're gonna do. I want you to talk to each other.
She's gonna be sick.
Okay, why do you think she's gonna be sick?
Maybe she was playing.
Okay.
Because she has the lung thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now what I'm gonna ask for you guys to do is to create a trifold. So one like this. You already have a construction. Okay, so now in the first section, we're going to title it Before Reading. So in esta we're going to put Before Reading. And in the middle section, During Reading. For the last section, we're going to title it After Reading. So we titled the first section Before Reading, the middle section During Reading, and the last section After Reading. Okay, so let's go back to what I asked you at the beginning. Where I wanted you to predict what was going to happen in the story. So in the first column, write one or two predictions that you made when you first saw the cover of the book and the title of the book. To tell me what they wrote on their graphic organizer.
That she's gonna be sick because she's on the bed. Because she feel like she's feeling bad.
Okay. Heather?
That I feel like she's gonna be sick because she got sick the wrong in her mouth.
Okay.
She got stripes.
Okay. Those are great predictions. Okay, so now we're going to start reading the story. You guys are going to get the book. You're going to share the book together. As I'm reading, we're going to be stopping occasionally, okay? So I'm going to be telling you when to stop, and I'm going to be asking you some questions. You're going to be recording your answer to those questions in the middle of your graphic organizer, which was during reading, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to start on page 1. A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. Camila Cream loved lima beans, but she never ate them. All her friends hated Lima Beans, and she wanted to fit in. Camila was always worried about what other people thought of her. Today she was fretting even more than usual. It was the first day of school and she couldn't decide what to wear. There were so many people to impress. She tried on 42 outfits, but none seemed quite right. She put on a pretty red dress and looked in the mirror. Then she screamed. Her mother ran into the room and she screamed too. Oh my heavens, she cried, you're completely covered with stripes. Okay, we're going to be stopping on page 2. Get out your graphic organizer. The question is, you don't have to write the question, just answer it. Why do you think Camila is covered in stripes? What made you think that? So we see a picture of Camila in bed covered in stripes. Do you guys have any idea of why would she be covered in stripes? Anything?
Because she's sick.
Okay.
She's getting sick.
Okay, she's getting sick. Could it be also that she might have eaten something? Coming in right? What else, guys? What else do you think?
That she drank too many drinks and that probably she got sick.
Okay, that's really smart.
Or the drink have like something for she can get sick.
Allergy? She can be allergic. Okay, now we completed our first question. We're going to continue reading the book. Her mother ran into the room and she screamed too. Oh my heavens, she cried, you're completely covered with stripes. This was certainly true. Camila was striped from head to toe. She looked like a rainbow. Miss Cream felt Camila's forehead. Do you feel alright? She asked. I feel fine, Camila answered. But just look at me. You get back in that bed in this instant, her mother ordered. You're not going to school today. Camila was relieved. She didn't want to miss the first day of school, but she was afraid of what the other kids would say, and she had no idea what to wear with those crazy stripes. That afternoon, Dr. Bumble came to examine Camila. Most extraordinary, he exclaimed. I've never seen anything like it. Are you having any coughing, sneezing, runny nose, aches, pains, or uncontrollable twitching? No, Camila told him. I feel fine. Well then, Dr. Bumble said, turning to Miss Cream, I don't see any reason why she shouldn't go to school tomorrow. Here's some ointment that should help clear those stripes in a few days. If it doesn't, you know where to reach me. And off he went. The next day was a disaster. Everybody at school laughed at Camila. They called her Camila Crayon and Night of the Living Lollipop. She tried her best to act as if everything were normal, but when the class did the Pledge of Allegiance, her stripes turned red, white, and blue, and she broke out in stars. The other kids thought this was great. One yelled out, let's see some purple polka dots. Sure enough, Camila turned all purple polka dotty. Someone else shouted, checkerboard, and a pattern of squares covered her skin. Soon everyone was calling out different shapes and colors, and poor Camila was changing faster than you can change channels on TV. Okay, do you guys want to read the next section?
Then when Mrs. Harms, the school principal, called. I'm sorry, Mrs. Green, he said. I'm going to have to keep Camila home from school. She's just too much of a distraction. I have been getting calls from other parents. They are afraid those strikes may be contagious. Camila was so embarrassed. She couldn't believe 2 days ago everyone liked her. Now nobody wants to be in her same room with her. Her father tried to make her feel better. Is there anything I can get it, sweetheart, he asked. No, thank you, said Camila. What she really wanted was a nice plate of lemon beans, but she had been laughed at enough for one day.
Okay, let's turn the page. Okay, so now I'm gonna ask you a question. What do you think is going to happen now? And this is the time to go back to your predictions and check if they were confirmed. Were they confirmed? Were they correct? Or you can also change your prediction, make new predictions.
I think I would change it to probably the what she drank.
Okay.
Probably that's what made her sick.
Yeah. You can add that to your predictions.
Maybe we're gonna change it because that's weird that when you do something, everything is changing. Something like that.
Okay, so what do you think is going to happen now? Now that you've seen this picture.
I think that all of the doctors gonna be checking that what kind of
what disease? Yes, that's great. Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of doctors around her. They're trying to figure out what's wrong with her, right?
It's super weird that she had that.
Okay. Well, yes, I see Dr. Bumble mumbled when Mr. Cream phoned the next day. I think I better bring in the specialist. We'll be right over. About an hour later, Dr. Bumble arrived with 4 people in long white coats. He introduced them to the Creams. This is Dr. Grub, Dr. Sponge, Dr. Cricket, and Dr. Young. And Dr. Young. Then the specialists went to work on Camila. They squeezed and jabbed, tapped and tested. It was very uncomfortable. Well, it's not the mumps, concluded Dr. Grub, or the measles, said Dr. Sponge. Definitely not chickenpox, put in Dr. Cricket. Or sunburn, said Dr. Young. Try these, said the specialist. They each handed her a bottle filled with different colored pills. Take one of each before bed, said Dr. Grub. Take one of each before bed, said Dr. Grub. They filed out the front door, followed Dr. Bumble. That night, Camila took her medicine. It was awful. When she woke up the next morning, she did feel different. But when she got dressed, her clothes didn't fit her right. She looked in the mirror, and there, staring back at her, was a giant multicolored pill with her face on it. Dr. Bumble rushed over as soon as Miss Cream called. But this time, instead of the specialist, he brought the experts. Dr. Gord and Mellon were the finest scientific minds in the land. Once again, Camila was poked and prodded, looked at, and listened to. The experts wrote down lots of numbers. Then they huddled together and whispered. Dr. Gard finally spoke. It might be a virus, he announced with authority. Suddenly, fussy little virus balls appeared all over Camila. Or possibly some form of bacteria, said Mr. Mellon. Out popped squiggly little bacteria tails. Or it could be fungus, added Dr. Gord. Instantly, Camila was covered with different colored fungus blotches. The expert looked at Camila, then at each other. We need to go over these numbers again, back at the lab, Dr. Gard explained. We'll call you when we know something. But the experts didn't have a clue, much less a cure. By now, the TV news had found out about Camila. Reporters from every channel were outside her house, telling the story of the bizarre case of the incredible changing kid. Soon, a huge crowd was camped out in the front lawn. The creams were swamped with all kinds of remedies from psychologists, allergists, herbalists, nutritionists, psychics, an old medicine man, a guru, and even a veterinarian. Each so-called cure only added to poor Camila's strange appearance, until it was hard to even recognize her. Camila's strange appearance. Okay. She sprouted roots and berries and crystals and feathers and long furry tail, but nothing worked. Okay. One day, a woman who called herself an environmental therapist claimed she could cure Camila. Close your eyes, she said. Breathe deeply and become one with your room. I wish you hadn't said that, Camila groaned. Slowly, she started to melt into the walls of her bedroom. Her bed became her mouth, her nose was a dresser, and 2 paintings were her eyes. The therapist screamed and ran from the house. What are we going to do? Cried Miss Scream. It just keeps getting worse and worse. She began to cry. Okay, so now we're going to stop in this page over here. Okay, what do you think? Oh, here. I'm gonna stop here. What do you think the old lady is going to do? And what made you think that?
Probably she has something for Camila that she can cure.
Okay. We're going to be writing that under our during reading section. So in the middle. Right. What do you think the old lady is going to do? And what made you think that? Okay. So what is something you wrote, Ruby?
Maybe she's gonna give something to Camila for she can be happy.
Okay. What did you put, Heather?
And probably she has something like a cure or something for her.
That's great. Those are great predictions. Okay, let's continue reading. At that moment, Mr. Cream heard a quiet little knock at the front door. He opened it, and there stood an old woman who was just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. Excuse me, she said brightly, but I think I can help. She went into Camila's room and looked around. My goodness, she said with a shake of her head. What we have here is a bad case of stripes. One of the worst I've ever seen. She pulled a container of small green beans from her bag. Here, she said. These might do the trick. Are those magic beans? Asked Miss Green. Oh my no, she replied, the kind old woman. There's no such a thing. They're just plain old lima beans. I bet you like some, wouldn't you? She asked Camila. Camila wanted a big, heaping plateful of lima beans, more than just about anything, but she was still afraid to admit it. Yuck, she said. No one likes lima beans, especially me. Oh dear, the old woman said sadly. I guess I was wrong about you. She put the beans back in her bag and started toward the door. Camila watched the old woman walk away. Those beans would taste so good, and being laughed at for eating them was nothing compared to what she'd been going through. She finally couldn't stand it. Wait, she cried. The truth is, I really love lima beans. I thought so, the old woman said with a smile. She took a handful of beans and popped them into Camila's mouth. Said Camila. Suddenly the branches and feathers and squiggly tails began to disappear. There stood Camila, and everything was back to normal. I'm cured, she shouted. Yes, said the old woman. I knew the real you was in there somewhere. She patted Camila on the head. Then she went outside and vanished into the crowd. Afterwards, Camila wasn't quite the same. Some of the kids at school said she was weird, but she didn't care a bit. She ate all the lima beans she wanted, and she never had even a touch of stripes again. Okay, that's the end of the story. Okay, guys, did you enjoy the book?
Yes.
Yes. Me too. Okay. When I say go, I want you to turn and talk to your neighbor about the different predictions you made throughout the story. I also want you to talk to your partner about why you might have changed your predictions. Okay? What predictions did you make throughout the story?
What did you change?
And what did you change?
What did you change? Yes. esta muchacha, pero se les quitó y se le peor right now with the changes now. She's gonna give something to Camila, but she can be happy. No, so but she was happy. She was happy. So what do you think? That she has a good gift for Camila, but that was a good gift. Well, pero I think I'm gonna change this one because I put that probably that the drink that she drank. Well, I don't think
Okay, it's okay. So now on the last column, we're gonna write your responses to that question. So you're gonna write the predictions that you guys got right on the after read. I'm gonna have a volunteer to tell me what they included in the after reading column and what predictions they confirmed throughout the story.
I put that the old woman gave her a cure that was lemon beans,
okay,
which helped her go back to normal.
And you got that from the story, right? When she gave her the lemon beans. Okay, you, Ruby?
I write that she was allergy from something because they only give them the beans, and then she get better.
Okay, so then you thought that the cure for her illness was the lima beans that the old lady gave her at the end of the story.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. What did you read from the text that made you change your prediction? So at first you had started with a prediction and before reading, which was our first column over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what made you change your prediction for the first one? So let's say your prediction was not quite right.
Mm-hmm.
What made you change it? What did you read that helped you change your prediction? Okay, so what did you put, Heather? What was something? Yeah.
That she was sick and that she got stressed.
Okay. What did you put? She's going to be sick because she's on the bed with her face and then she felt bad or she felt sick. Okay. So she has allergies. So what made you change your prediction that she had allergies?
What is it?
What made you change your prediction that she had allergies?
Alergias.
What made her feel better?
Oh, the beans.
The beans. So it wasn't an allergy, right? Because she had to eat the beans in order to get better. Okay, so that was great. So thank you guys for participating in today's DRTA activity.